Okay, so finally, the spare parts or the repair kit for this Victa carburetor have arrived. It's a, there you can see it there, there it is. Finally arrived all the way from sunny China. And there's several parts in there I don't need apparently, because I don't have two ignition wires going into this carburetor, which these plugs are for here. So I'll put them to one side anyways, I don't need those. So the time has come now for me to reassemble this carburetor with the new diaphragm and the new needle, which I've already put in place. Now here's the old, you can maybe remember it, the old front cover that Mick and I looked at with the stuck needle, and there's the stuck needle there. So I've done away with those, and I've actually already rebuilt it, and it's all now, as you can see on there. So let's see if we can have a go at rebuilding this thing. Okay, I've got the camera set up. I'm going to try and put this thing back together again. Now I've been playing around with the riser or the control. It says here, clearly shows this side down. All right. So let me just if I get it out a moment, bear with me a second. There it goes. Shows on there, this side down. I hope you can see that there, which means it goes that way round. Okay. Right, fair enough, we think. So, but before that, the interesting thing is this popper that actually controls the diaphragm is marked. And it's marked with an A1, 2, and you probably almost certainly won't be able to see that. But it is clearly marked. And I have read somewhere that you should put the A closest to a certain spot, which you can see if I turn the carb over. Down inside, there is a spot there. So that's what I'm going to try and do. And this thing just sits in there, and I'm not sure quite how it has any effect on it whatsoever. But I popped it in there, and I've popped it onto A, as suggested. Then I'm going to hold it in place. Where are we? Put in the control, for want of a better word, and it sits in the slots like so. I might need to just bear me a second, bring that back in the right place. I'm going to put it in the start position. And it says this side down. And there it goes, it fits in there. Now to me, that clashes there. And I can't get my head quite around if that's right. I really can't get my head around it. As it says in all the good books, follow the instructions. So I'm going to do it as he suggested. As I said, again, pop up the pin, the retaining pin for the diaphragm. Here's the new diaphragm. I've checked on which way that goes. Now, first and foremost, we have to put the spring on. It goes on like so. Okay. And then the diaphragm sits down onto that pin quite merrily. Apparently so. Let's see if we can find a hole for it. This is going to be more of a fiddle than you think. Like so. There it goes. Held in place. And then on top of that, the retaining plate sits down, face down, and basically just push the retaining plate in, and it will then slide across. That's all figures of thumbs here. There we go. Good grief. There it goes. It's in place. Making sure, of course, that the diaphragm is not all caught up inside like I just managed to do. Let's get it all out a minute. There you go. In place now, that's better. nicely seated around the edges. Then we have to put the pink spring, sits on top like so, and the cap placed in back in the correct position. Now I didn't check which way around this was, so I'm now just going to pop off a minute, double check for the orientation of this, and I think that's the is it the vacuum pipe, I believe? Yes it is, to check the correct position for it. Be right back. Okay, so I looked it up and found out which way it should go on. So should have the vacuum tube facing backwards, because it comes out of the crankcase cover, pipe comes out and connects to it there. So it's back together now. Bit of a fiddle, I'll be honest with you, getting that spring-loaded cap back on without damaging the diaphragm edge was a bit of a pickle. Anyway, it's back on. We'll see if it works in a minute. So let's get it back onto the machine and we'll go from there. Okay, so here's the carburetor refitted. Took a leaf out of mix book actually to mark up which pipe goes on. I had the piece of red tape here as well. We'll just take it off like so I know exactly which one went where. Good idea, Mick, well done. All back together. Remember to put this clip on, which I noticed when I took it apart earlier on, that was still left up here. I don't think it had a major impact as far as an air leak's concerned, but anyway, it should be there. So it's back together. Thing to check about here, I mentioned by the way, is a line that you may or may not be able to see on that carburetor. That has to be horizontal. Now this at the moment is not quite right, so just loosen this off, swivel it around so the line here is horizontal, and that's the correct position for the carburetor. So I'll get that back together and we'll take it outside and just to see if we've made any difference whatsoever. So we put everything back together. Starts up okay. Took a while to get going. Obviously it had to be primed. However, it's still revved its guts out. Absolutely revved it. Just by chance, I've been looking on the website recently, and I also noticed that a chap there changed the two seals on the inlet manifold that I hadn't done. Now the thing I do remember, when we took it apart originally, we had a problem getting the screws back in on one side, and I'm just wondering whether or not we didn't have a proper seal. Obviously air leak will make a two-stroke over rev. Luckily enough, there are two spare seals there that came with the kit, like so. So I'm going to change them. These are the old ones. And they're the new ones. I don't see much difference, but anyway, I'm going to change it. Can't do any harm. Well, I'll give it my best shot, to be honest with you. I changed all these seals, and it's still revving its guts out. Now, the only seal I've not yet changed is the crankcase seal, or at least the pull cord seal. Apparently, there's a seal there that can go, quite a large O-ring. I don't see any leaks from it, but I guess it's the last thing I need to double check. After that, I'm completely mystified. I just, as I said, change all those other rings. It revs its guts out. I mean, literally, it will almost take off like a helicopter. So if anybody got any ideas, I would be well pleased, to be honest. It's a Victa tilter cut. TAC 271C is the model number. I don't have the serial number, it's been rubbed off. Question I guess would be is, can the carburetor be put back together incorrectly? It does run, if I set it on start, which is start stroke choke, it runs sweets and up, to be fair. As soon as I try to rev it up, my goodness me, it's like World War 12 has just broken up. It's so revving its guts. It will blow itself up if I let it run. So I'll be really pleased if you could help me. Cheers now.